Good afternoon. Welcome to International Racing League Season 15 at the F1 Division Round before at Miami. We come to IRL Neon, or as Jared Fosbury, here to show you guys the F1 race today. We are just waiting for around about 7 to 8 more drivers to join the lobby, and we should be going another race very shortly. We have 3 minutes to go until our actual start time. But while we wait, we might as well go down through the comments on the standings. Let's go through the standings then at the moment while we're waiting for some of the drivers to join. As we are at Miami today. So then, if you did miss Qatar, we'll give you guys the results then. So in the end, we did have Cameron Armstrong, a surprising winner for Miami. He's had a good start this season, actually. I will give him that. He finished in the Drivers' Championship standings at the end of that round in third, after he won the race with 37 points. Cameron Young still trying to go for his second title this season. Is in the lead with 43, with Millen now finally being overtaken into second place with 41 points, having a disappointing end in Qatar by not putting enough fuel into the car. Hopefully nobody has that issue for today at Miami. There's a couple more people are joining the session now as well while we are talking. Curtis now will be racing today. He missed out on Qatar, couldn't make it. He is fourth with 34 points. Looking for good results today. Same with his teammate Edward as well. Tony in fifth. He's been doing well, especially since he's been near the back of the grid a couple of times. Getting some decent points with 30 there. Then we have Liam, who did win the first race, but due to the penalty, obviously Millen then won Austria. And he only scored 6 points there, but then he got a decent result in China, finishing third, but unfortunately couldn't make Qatar, and he's in sixth. And Alfredo then is trying to make a return for a potential opportunity to win an IRL Championship this season, as he got a good result last weekend, finishing second. Didn't help his teammate. It avoided team orders, even though his teammate wanted him to back off, but he completely ignored it. But he finally got some good solid points after the first 2 rounds. Only scored 1 point in each round. So that is your 7th place driver. In 8th is Mumford. He's had a good start, first round, 15 points, and then China and Qatar just didn't score any points. Got any bit of contact with a couple of the drivers. Either they made mistakes, ran into him, which unfortunately didn't help his chances in the race. Bran, he's had a very unlucky start of the season. Didn't do the first race, obviously, he couldn't make it. Only got 4 points in China with contact with Fergs, who is racing today after he served his race ban. And he got 8 points in Qatar, so he can't be too disappointed, but it's not the start he would want, especially since he's bottled 3 attempts to win a Drivers' Championship. Is he going to go for the 4th this season? I don't know. I don't know if he's got the pace to actually be up there. And then Lee, who rounds up the top 10 with 12 points to his name. Didn't score any points in the first round. Could have scored points, but made a silly overtake on the double left-hand on Alfie, which caused him to spin, and then scored consistent points in China Qatar with 6 points in each of those rounds. So he's doing very well there with 12 points, and obviously Big Boy June and Edward are right behind him, ready to move up in the drivers' standings. But if we look at the constructors right now, I'll wait for a couple of us to join, wait for 2 more people to join, as we already can see 18 already in Lloyd, which is awesome to see. AlphaTauri then take the lead in the constructors. They have 63 points to their name, so Cameron and Alfie are doing a brilliant job. It's mainly Cameron, but Alfie needs to start chipping in a bit in the next couple of rounds. Lee and Millen, second place with the Haas team with 53, only 10 points behind. And then Williams, obviously they missed the round at Qatar, so they took a massive point hit due to those 2 teams, but are looking to strike back today at Miami. Red Bull in 4th, obviously with Cam's win at Qatar. Got some solid points there with him and Ferguson with 37 points. Then we have Aston Martin in 5th with Tony and Ross. Tony carrying the team with 31 points. And then Alpine, Sondra unfortunately hasn't scored any points at the moment. Mumford, obviously the only round he did score points was Austria, finishing 3rd. In 6th with only 15 points to name, and then 2 points behind them is the Alfa Romeo team between Bran and Ollie, and then in 8th is Mercedes between Ushin and Lodi. 9th then with the full drivers of McLaren is Alex Waller and Luke Baker, who scored points I believe at Qatar. And Ferrari still haven't scored points this season. Hopefully they can score some points for today, as we now have 19. We all wait for one more driver, and that is a Ferrari, as Lars has made it in today, which is good to see. Don't know who we are missing for the Ferrari. Let's try and find that out. Just give me 1 second. The Ferraris should be Charlie and Lars. So Charlie is meant to be in the Ferrari today. I don't know if he could have made it. I think he said he couldn't. Just have a look quickly. No, he said he can make it, so we are actually expecting him in the lobby, so we are expecting the full grid. Waiting for him to join then. As if you do have any comments, do put them in the chat. Any information you want to know? I will actually say some information now. Actually, we are starting an FP tier on Wednesday, 8 PM. So if you are interested in doing a Formula Performance tier, where obviously Red Bull is the quickest, and I believe Williams or Alfa Romeo or whatever is the slowest. In that sense, if you guys are interested in doing a Formula Performance tier, then or go to the IRL Twitter, or even join us on Discord and sign up straight away for that, because the seats are filling up quickly. We're also still looking for a second division for the equal tiers. We only need 5 more drivers, and then we are good to go for a second division. Also got a PC tier now running as well. Obviously, Louis is leading that, and also potential of a second PC tier as well. So we are trying to get the ball moving in that area, as voice chat has been suspended, so I'm guessing Lobby will be going very shortly. But if you are interested in any of those tiers, PC, PS, obviously with equal performance, or even FP on a Wednesday at 8 PM, do let us know, and we'll get you signed up, and hopefully we can see you guys on the grid. Now back to this weekend then for Miami. Just waiting for, obviously, Charlie. Charlie can join. I don't know why he hasn't joined yet. And if you did miss the International Racing League, obviously, podcast, which was yesterday, obviously describing some of the information, obviously what's coming to the IRL channel and obviously the league itself, do check that. It is IRL Aloha Pod Episode 1, which was streamed yesterday. It's around about an hour long, but it's definitely something not to miss. You need to catch in some interesting information there. I believe that was with Lordy, Alfie, and even Lewis Millam, one of the FP coordinators, alongside Alfie, which is obviously FP's on Wednesday at 8 PM, if you do want to look at that on the YouTube channel. And obviously I believe there will be another Law Pod episode coming up next week with some more interesting information, as I believe a couple more people have readied up now. I think we are going to be going very soon. As well, I believe now we're resting on Ewan because Charlie has unfortunately not been able to turn up. Wondering if that's an issue on his end or he's just forgot. Hopefully he hasn't forgot, because you don't want somebody then to take your seat for today and then you say you can race. So we have a few new drivers today as well. Snooker, Lordy, obviously he's in the Merc. The Alpine driver as well. Let's see if there's anybody else new. No. And if you're wondering why Fergus wasn't in the last race, it was due to the incident with Bran and Ollie in the Alfa Romeo, and there's somebody else as well. He had all the penalties all added up, penalty points as well, added up to a race ban. So obviously he needs to keep it clean today, because if he makes some dodgy decisions, he could be in a bit of trouble with the stewards. So hopefully he can stay out of trouble for today, as we're still waiting for Ewan to join. But Cameron, though, is in the lead of the Drivers' Championship, as I said, with Millam right on his tail. But I think the favourite for the championship, after we've had a couple of rounds now, it's going to be in between, I believe, Cameron, Curtis, maybe Edward if he can get some good results, and obviously the other guys struggle to get some results, and I think Millam as well. I think Millam's still a good shout, to be honest. Might not be the quickest guy out of the lot, but he's got some consistent pace. So that could benefit him, and as Ewan is joining now then. So we will have a 20-car grid. Do remember formation lap is off due to the bug still from Cody's. They fixed the bug with the tyre issue, and then there's a new bug where you get de-skewed on the formation lap now on the actual start of the race. So it's a bit iffy on that, which hopefully they can actually fix it. And even has joined in, so there is 20. So we do have a full grid this weekend. We were meant to have a full grid at Austria. Unfortunately, Josh couldn't start the race and couldn't do the restart after. But a full grid, it's good to see. We've had good numbers, brilliant numbers for the first 4 rounds. Hopefully we can maintain this for the rest of the season. And as I said, if you are interested in signing up to IRL, do let us know on the Twitter or join the Discord and sign up to your tier you want. As I said, FP Wednesdays at 8 or PC tier or even an equal tier on Sundays 8 PM. Obviously, we are looking to expand the Sunday tier to potentially have 2 tiers for F1 and PS. So hopefully we do get people for that. So I said we only need 5 more drivers and then that will be given the green light to go ahead. As now people are just picking their tyre allocations. A lot of people will pick softer. Maybe some people might pick the harder tyre to have an extra set of mediums. But I think the way to go is the soft compound around this track, as we're just waiting for Cam and the 2 new drivers today who are racing, which is good to see. As the Alpine driver is Timothy Chima, I believe. Swedish driver has joined in the Aston, who's in 5th at the moment. I believe that's how you're saying him. Do apologise if I said that wrong. I've got all the information, all the telemetry up. And the qualifying session then is green then. We have 17 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, obviously, of qualifying, and then we'll be getting on with the race. But as normal, my qualifying prediction for the top 4. I'm going to go with Curtis on pole, Edward, I think, 2nd. I think Williams 1-2 in quali. Cameron, I think, a close 3rd with Millen 4th. I think that is the top 4 for quali. Obviously, I'll say the race results, obviously, at the end of quali and before the start of the race. As we do have a driver already leaving the pit lane. He's already out on track, actually, and that is Lee Kelly. Lee, then, obviously, as I said, has had good results. Not the best. Obviously, he's had 2 6-point finishes, obviously getting 6 points. So he's only got 12 points. And the drivers obviously missed out in Austria due to making a silly overtake on Alfie, which missed him out on a couple of points. But he's looking to try and help them out in the Constructors and try and see if he can be one of the contenders as well this season for the Drivers' Championship as well. As he's currently the closest one to start a lap. The next up will be McLaren, then Millen. And then I believe Cameron Armstrong, our race winner at Qatar. He's on the medium compound, going out on the track, so he wants to do a medium lap first. There's now a lot more people leaving the pit lane now, which is good. And any information like any of the driver incidents, anything like that, hopefully some of the drivers do let us know in the general chat. But then we're going to go on board with Lee now for his qualifying lap. So going through the hairpin corners, it does look a bit cloudy, so is there a threat of rain? The car is just leaving the pit lane now, so hopefully they don't held up the Haas there, but here comes Lee then, starting his flying lap then around Miami round before. Into when he goes in the 3rd gear, takes it a bit tight there. Nice and tight through 2 and 3. Ooh, maybe really curved a bit too much before he pulls out the way there. Now through the quick left, right and left. Looks off a little bit. Got to get the rotation here perfectly. You could lose a bit of time. Runs a bit deep, very close to that wall there, Lee, but he keeps it under control within the white lines as well. So down at this first trip, potential overtaking zone. There's plenty around here. Down the straight he goes then. Top speed of 208 miles an hour, maybe 9 there almost. Into the braking zone. There's approaching the end of sector 2 now. As he comes into the chicane, got to get a nice tight line. Oh, just keeps it within track limits. They're very close going across it. Oh, almost hits that wall as well. The Ferrari pulling out the way there, letting the Haas through. Let's go down the back straight. Finishes the second sector. Now the quickest third sector, just long straight and 2 to 3 corners left on his lap. He's almost out of fuel, so Lee's really put hardly any fuel into the car. Runs a bit deep into the hairpin, trying to get the rotation. Have to lift a bit on the throttle just to get the turn in. Now into the left and quick right to the line. It's going to be a 1:27.6. I'm expecting some of these drivers to do 1:26s. So not a bad lap, but not the best, as we'll go on board with the McLaren, I believe was next. It is Luke Baker, and then we're going to go on board with Lee's teammate, Lewis Millen, one of the championship favourites. And Luke Baker just invited it to stay in the end. Millen then, see what he can do against his teammates. And that is a 27.2 there, so that's 4/10 improvement. Not a bad lap there as Cameron Armstrong with a 28 flat. To be fair, only being 4/10 off Lee on the medium compound isn't that bad. As next up, we'll go on board with Lewis Curtis, who's actually not on a timed lap. I believe that is Mumford then, who's next coming across the line. A nice fourth with a 1:28.3, and we'll go on board with the Mercedes of Lordy. He's now coming to the line. Let's see what he can do. That's in fifth with 29.6 as the next Red Bull of Fergus Wilson. He's now just starting a lap, so we'll go on board with him then. See what the Red Bull driver can do after his return, after his race ban. Then, see what he can do then through Sector 1. Is the yellows in Sector 3. That's now Vittorio Gonçalves running a bit wide there, potentially. Through the right-hander, maybe losing a little bit of time. Now through the quick section. Got to get enough rotation. Got to get the aerodynamics perfect with the setup. Into the left-hander. A lot better rotation compared to Lee Kelly, to be fair. And the clouds are starting to clear around Miami. It's purple apparently in the first sector. Obviously this telemetry can obviously lie saying he's purple. Let's see what he can do in the second sector split. As there's a bit of traffic ahead of him. There's a McLaren going slowly. Also says, oh, Fergus one's a bit deep. And he lifts off a little bit. Is he going to continue the lap? I don't think he is. No, he's not. He's definitely backed off the lap in the end then, as he doesn't want to get a potential penalty. As Brandon, he's now finishing his flying lap, currently 15th, obviously with no lap time set. He's trying to obviously get his championship started a bit better than he did the last couple of rounds. See what Brand can do then. Coming to the line. It's going to be a 1:28.264. Slower than his teammate at the moment, Ollie Favell. Bit quicker there. And is that just a genuine pace of the Alfa Romeos? Right now on board of Edward. He's about to start his flying lap. There's a lot of traffic ahead. Coming to the line, obviously. Mercedes obviously getting ready for his next flying lap. We'll go on board of Edward then. Obviously, he's won an IRL championship. As Simon made it back to the session, or Timothy made it back in the session. Hope he can get it back into his car. Down the straight, home straight he goes with Mercedes, not that far behind. Obviously, it's currently a Haas 1-2 with Cameron Armstrong in third. 12 drivers set lap times. Obviously, Kurt set a banker, but Kurt then goes third quickest with a 27.666. Only a couple of hundredths there off Lee Kelly there, ahead of Cameron Armstrong now. Let's see what Edward can do then through this quick section, through this long left-hander. As I said, you've got to get the rotation. One's a bit deep potentially, but keeps the car within the track limits. A lot better than Lee. Let's see what he can do then down this long straight in the second sector. Already put the speed of 211, 12 miles an hour, 13 miles an hour, a lot faster. One of the fellow drivers I was just commentating on, we only topped the speed of 209 there, so it's definitely running a lot more straight line speed on the setup. So what Edward can do into the chicane, rides the curve nice and tidy, keeps it within limits. A lot tidier lap than what we saw from Lee Kelly. Purple, 2.7 up, the 1:02 there in the second sector. As I said, he's definitely getting a bit of tour from the Williams. It's definitely loaded that. And coming into the hairpin corner, he's basically out of fuel now. Oh, he hits that wall. It's definitely cost him a bit of time. Hopefully no damage to the car, but he's coming to the line then. What's it going to be? It's a 27.897. 3.5 second improvement just behind his teammate. So, one of both Alpines leaving the pit lane. Alfie done a 32.6. Luke Baker is on another time lap, currently in 18th, 3 laps on these soft tyres. So not really fresh. As is yellows, I'm wondering if that's the Alpine potentially had a bit of collision with one of the drivers or just moving out of the way. Luke then, through the final corner. He's got plenty of fuel left. Oh, makes a little bit of an error there into the hairpin. And he invalidates... Right, that's... I don't know if that is... That's definitely getting looked at. You are meant to get invalidated after you've cut a bit of a corner there, but... each to his own, as Fergus Wilson then, he's beginning his second flying lap, or his second attempt to start a flying lap. As the Aston there, leaving the pit lane, I believe that is Tony coming out the pits. Right now then, let's see what he can do. As he's in 12th with a 129.5 on the mediums. So he's set one lap on him. Is he going to go for another? Now they're on the board with the Red Bull. Ooh, runs a bit off the line then, invalidates his run, and that's not going to be happy for him, as I believe one of the Ferraris are just starting lap. It's one of the new guys for today. It's Lars then, so we're going to go on board with Lars and see what he can do in the Ferrari. Do believe he is one of the quick guys. Potentially could be fighting for a win today, maybe. We'll have to win and see what he can do then. In the Ferrari he goes then, into the first section, into the left now, avoids the curbs. Oh, right to go there, a bit too much, which almost beats the car and set it offline. Now into the long left, keeps it under control, nice and tidy with the throttle, decent exit. Decent that. Down the straight he goes, let's see what his straight on speed is. Cameron Armstrong sets the new fastest lap, a 1:27 flat there, 2/10 improvement ahead of Millen, so not a bad lap there from Cameron. I believe that's more than 2 tenths, almost a second, but I mean 2/10 ahead of Millen. So not a bad time there from Cameron, as he looks like he's got a bit of a groove going on as he won last weekend. Is he potentially making it a back-to-back win this weekend? The win of the sea, as the Ferrari unfortunately has invalidated while we're on board. This is a shame. Let's see if he completes the lap anywhere, as I don't believe anybody ahead of him is on finishing laps. As Cameron, I believe, is backed off in the end as he's letting a Ferrari through. I believe Big Boy June is going to be starting a lap. But we'll go on board one of the Alpines further behind. Let's see what time Lars would have set then. It's 27.5, so it would have put him third actually. So it would have been a good time. Let's have a look at the Alpine of Mumford there. I believe Mumford is on a lap. He has invalidated though, so his lap won't be continuing. What about Big Boy Jewin? He is next up to finish lap. Then it's the Alpine in 20th of Timothy. And there, becoming yellow in sector 3, that is a Haas going slowly. Cameron Young is about to start his flying lap again. Big Boy Jewin doesn't improve. And Timothy moves into 12 for 29.152 there. Not a bad lap in the end as Cameron's actually peeled into the pits. Alfie's going to be starting a lap very soon. Lars isn't going again, I don't believe, but he has got a Williams who is on a timed lap. And I believe that was Curtis, so hopefully they haven't affected each other. Curtis obviously backed off in the end to start again. Is that Millen? No, it's not. It's Lee Kelly then getting ready for a flying lap. So we'll go back on board with Lee then, currently in second with a 27.2. So he's starting his next flying lap. Sorry, not Lee, it's actually Millen. So I'm getting them mixed up now. Millen is starting his lap. There is a McLaren ahead of him. Now I believe that is Alex Waller. It is Alex Waller. He's gone off the track into one. That's probably offset Millen a little bit into one. I think he's going to back off. Yes, he's backed off his lap in the end. He probably got made a mistake in the one due to the McLaren. What about Brandon? Is he on another time lap? Don't believe he is. Big June's already peeling into the pits. Lars is obviously peeling into the pits as well. Williams of Lewis Curtis. We'll go on board with him then. Currently in 5th, one of my favourites for obviously the Drivers' Championship this season. Keeps it very close to that white line. Into one he goes. There's got a bit of traffic again ahead of him, of a McLaren and a Mercedes. I believe that is Luke Baker and Lodi. Curtis then currently in 5th with a 1:27.666. Right now in 5th place. Oh, right to curb there a bit too much. Going to cost him a bit of time. Oh, he's struggling to get the rotation. But in the end keeps it nice tidy into 4th. Let's go down to 3rd, as a couple of drivers have been doing. As down the exit he goes then. Down the long straight. So the straight line speed he's got, is he going to be matching his teammate with the straight line speed? It looks like he is, so they're running very similar setups, maybe even the same setup then. 230 miles an hour into the braking zone, keeps it just on that white line, taking as much room as he can as the McLaren moves out of the way then to let him go. And Lewis Curtis is flying right now, right to the curbs, keeps it within track limits there. Now ending sector 2, it's going to be a 1 minute 2.1 there, 2/10 improvement right now. The 2/10 improvement time would put him third, where the Mercedes of Snookster is in third place right now with a 27.431. Let's see what Lewis Curtis can do then in this final sector. Will he be able to take it on a provisional pole? The time is currently to beat, it's a 27 flat. Will he be the first one to potentially get it in the 26s? And the answer is no, because Curtis then is peeling into the pit lane. So he's given up on the lap in the end. What about his teammate Edward? He's currently on an improvement by 3/10. He's currently on a 27.8. So a 3/10 improvement potentially could get him 5th, even 4th place if he finds a bit more time. Alfie's obviously improved then into 4th then in the end, as Lee Kelly drops to 5th. As Red Bull Fergus Wilson is back out on track, so we'll go on board with him next, and then we'll go on board with the Aston of Trimimi in 14th, and Edward now peels into the pits. So people are not finishing their laps then in the end. Maybe they're going for the final minutes in the session. As here comes Fergus Wilson then round the final corner, keeps it within track limits, avoids the wall, doesn't get a good exit there, a bit of wheel spin. Let's see what he can do then to the line. And it's going to be a 127 flat there. Couple of thousand off his teammates, so the Red Bulls today are looking quick right now, as the Aston then has invited, he's peeling into the pits. Obviously you've got to watch out for that white line when you do the actual race session, and I believe Cameron Young is the next one. No, it's actually, is it Cameron Young or is it Alfie? Because I know Alfie's on track. It is Alfie. Alfie is peeling into the pits, I'm guessing. We'll go on board him just to make sure. Yes, he is. He's peeling into the pits. Alex Wall then is on an out lap. Luke Baker is on an actual time lap then. So you see him go off the track a little bit to do a lap of a 31.9. Currently in 16th. And he peels into pits. So he's not starting the lap then in the end. So it's going to be an Alfa Romeo then of Ollie Flavel. We did watch a bit of him in China. Obviously had that altercation with Fergus Wilson. So we can do then on his final attempt in this qualifying session. Turn 1, 2 and 3 not bad. We've lost that wall obviously, trying to take the shortest line possible. Now into the quick left and right. Don't want to ride the curves. We've seen a couple of drivers do it and kind of offset them. Now into the long left-hander with a tricky braking zone. Perfect there from Ollie. Oh, not the exit though. The exit was nowhere near as perfect. And, well, he's definitely not going to be happy with that exit, but he's still got time to find some time, especially to improve from a 27.8. Currently a bit slower than his teammate, who's currently in 8th place, with also a 27.8, but at 8.13 instead of an 8.73. Ollie then is also approaching a bit of traffic. Fergus Wilson has called it a day then in this qualifying session. He's happy with the lap he's set, but is it going to keep him in 2nd place? Or will he drop further down the field with people improving? Let's see in the 2nd sector. Wasn't the best there for Ollie. See what he can do then. It's going to be a 1 minute 2.2. He's currently only a couple of hundreds up on his time, so he ain't going to gain any positions unless he finds a chunk of time in this final sector. The Williams, they're pulling on the left side there. I believe that is Curtis going slowly. No, it's actually Edward they're going slowly, as they run in the same helmet and number. It's a bit confusing sometimes, but here comes Ollie then round the final corner then. Coming to the line, let's see what he can do. The time is going to be 8th then, so he does improve to a 27.6. What about Cameron Young? He hasn't set lap time as of yet. Is he going to be challenging for pole position? He's coming to the line, and yes he is. That is a 26.853 there. What a time then. What a time to find, especially in the late stage of this qualifying session. And currently on pole, but will some of the drivers be able to beat it? What about Brandon? Is he on another time lap? No, he's getting ready to start another one. Big Boy June, I believe, is behind him on an outlap. The Red Bull of Cameron Armstrong is on an outlap as well. Go on board with one of the Haas drivers who I believe is on a lap. It is Lee Kelly, but he has invalidated. He's now getting prepared. So we'll go on board with Curtis. I do know he is on a lap right now. Currently in the end of Sector 2 right now into the chicane. He goes very close to that wall. He goes a bit too close there, and he loses his left reel. And that is his qualifying session over. Lee Kelly's also called it a day as well in the qualifying session. But Kersey got a bit too close to the wall there, and he has bottled his qualifying session. And it's not a good place to start in the midfield. But right now, then, we're going to go on board with the Mercedes. I believe that is Lordy. No, it isn't. It's actually Snooker, currently in 5th then with a 27.4. He is on a valid lap with a 27.4 at the moment. Let's see if he can improve it and potentially go into second or even take pole position away from Cameron Young. Round the final corner he goes then. Here comes the Mercedes now to the line. Let's see what he can do. See what time he can stay on the board. Here it comes then. 127.143. Then moves into 4th then. So he does improve ahead of Millen. The next Williams driver is Edward. He's now coming to the line, and it's going to be a 26. I think that was a 26.8 what popped up there. But I think it was invalid, which is a shame. Ollie's now peeled into the pit. So what about Alfie? That's Cameron Young, as he's peeling into the pit as well, so he isn't actually on a time lap then. So the next driver will be Big Boy Duran. He's currently in 14th right now with a 28.469. Into the hairpin he goes then. Let's see how much time he can find to improve, to potentially get a few higher positions. Could be ahead of Curtis. Curtis is still in 8th place, even though he retired on his final run. But here comes a Ferrari, moving to 11th. Edward drops to 12th, so not a good qualifying from him. And it's going to be hurting him a little bit. What about Tony then? He is going to set a valid lap time this time. Let's see what he can do. He's going to get a bit of slipstream, and he cuts a bit too much to the curve. It would have been a 26.7. It would have been pole, and he invalidates it just at the end. That's got to be a kick in the teeth there for the Aston. What about Lars then? Let's see what he can do then. Coming to the line, and he's 20th. He wasn't invalidated, I don't believe. Let's just check that. I believe he was. Well, here is the qualifying results then, and he wasn't invited. No, he wasn't. So Cameron Langdon with a 26.8, the only person to be in the 26 on pole then, with Cameron Armstrong right on his tail in 2nd. Fergus Wilson in 3rd, so the Red Bulls are looking hungry for some solid points. Alfie, a decent qualifying result then in 4th. Snooks at 5th. Millen, not the best from him in 6th, with Trimiri in the Aston in 7th, Lee Kelly 8th, Curtis disappointing qualifying, especially bottling it in the chicane in 9th, Ollie Fell beating his teammate in 10th, Brandon 11th, Big Boy during 12th, Edward shocking qualifying in 13th with a 127.8, just can't get grips with the car, Bumper 14th, Lordy 15th, the Alpine of Timothy in 16th, Alex in 17th, Luke Baker in 18th, Tony 19th, then could have potentially taken pole, and Lars then 20th, didn't sell lap time in the end. So then, we now go into the race then. As my race prediction, I'm going to go with Cameron winning, Lewis 2nd, Edward 3rd, and I'm going to go with Tony 4th. As usually he's at the back of the grid and he gets a solid start and gets just through the field and gets a good result in the end. So then we'll wait for people to pick their race strategies. A bit cloudy at the moment, but we have seen it the past couple of rounds where it's been like this, the cloud cover has been like this, and in the end it's been sunny, so I don't think there is any threat of rain at the moment, but there could be. Maybe that's why some of the drivers were running a bit different setups with a straight line speed and everything. So just wait for the drivers then to pick their setups and finalise them and race strategies. And as I did say, if you guys are interested, sign up into IRL and potentially joining one of the leagues, do sign up to the IRL Twitter, message the Twitter, and they'll send you a Discord link, or if the Discord link is already on the Twitter, click that and go to PS or PC sign up. Then back to the race then, as we have 5 red lights for round number 4 then. Who is going to take the lead into turn 1? And it's lights out and we're underway then, and it looks like Cameron's had an all case on. Actually, he's had a cracker of a start then, into the lead, into 1, but look at Cameron Armstrong trying to send it. Fergus Wilson on the outside, Alfie in at the back then. I've just realised it's a Red Bull family in the top 4. As Fergus Wilson already drops to 4th, Alfie then moves into 3rd. We quickly get the telemetry up. Has there been any contact at the moment? No, I don't believe there is. But Cameron leads with Cameron Armstrong 2nd, Alfie 3rd, Fergus 4th, Millen moves up to 5th. Snooker, oh, was the Alfa Romeo there? That's a bit of a snap there. As right now the Red Bull and the Hassel looking hungry in the background, as we can see. Edward now already making ways up the field, already into 11th, potentially trying to go for 10th place already on Bran. As he moves into 10th, then Bran drops to 11th, and we can see moves up ahead. Fergus Wilson moves into 3rd position then for the Red Bull, as Alfie drops to 4th, and we see almost 3 wide there in the background. Snooker, Chimmy, Millen scrapping away. Even Lewis Curtis now getting into the mix. We'll go on board with Curtis right now, as we can see. A good side view, Aston, Merck, getting a bit of contact. Yellows in sector 2. That is a Alpine. I thought it was a Williams there. And that is Timothy there going a bit slowly. Maybe a bit of contact with one of the Mercedes, potentially Alpine, even a McLaren, as he was near them at the start. As Edwin and Lewis. Not really getting that much. Obviously, Edwards getting a couple of positions, but Curtis stayed in 8th. Right now, though, Chamui is making a move on Snookster for P6 now. Round the outside he goes, potentially. Got to avoid the Hassler in the hairpin, but the Merc keeps his line, and the Merc holds the position and holds the road on track then. As Cameron Armstrong obviously sets a provisional fast time, and I didn't actually notice this. Cameron Armstrong has overtaken Cameron Young. So Cameron Armstrong's definitely got some pace today on him, and he's, well, right now, Cameron might have to be a bit worried, but obviously there's a long way to the end of this race. We see combat in the background between Millen and Alfie, then going side by side into the left and to the right hander. Millen moves into the position. Now Alfie's in more troubles. Has he got a bit of problem with the car? Has he got damage to the car potentially? Because he's just losing positions left, right and centre. Now the Mercedes wants a bit of the action. Trying to go alongside. A bit of contact there, a bit of wheel rubbing. But Alfie holds the line at the moment, but I don't think it's enough. Potentially for the straight line speed, a bit of connection issues between the drivers. They're going side by side. Alpha versus Merck, and the Mercedes makes the move into P5 then. And now the Aston and the Williams in the background also looking for the mix. Potentially Edward as well, not that far, and even Lee Kelly. But Alfie cuts the door, stops Lewis and the Aston. A bit of contact, bit of wheel rubbing, and the Aston's left the session. So now the Williams can get through easy peasy there. And hopefully we can make it back into the lobby straight away, as don't want to lose too much time, because you're just dropping a couple of places now. Cameron almost out of DRS already, so I wasn't expecting this pace potentially from Cameron Armstrong. But here comes Lewis Curtis now. He's potentially making a move on Alfie. Alfie potentially making a move on the Mercedes, and Curtis lifts off a little bit. Potentially go for it. Alfie, a bit of a tight gap to go for there from Alfie Ollie. Alfie though couldn't make it work, and now he's under threat by Curtis. Cameron Armstrong set the new fast lap at 31.1. We're keeping an eye on the action in the background as well. We can see a Ferrari making a move now on the Alfa Romeo. I believe that is of Brandon Glover. And he has made it. Big Budget then moves into 10th. Oh, Curtis has a bit of a snap there. Almost bottles it there and almost puts it into the wall like he did in qualifying. But keeps it within his control. And he's got Edward right behind him as well. So Alfie's going to have to watch out. We are going to go on board with the fight for, I think, 3rd to 2nd place potentially. Cameron Young right now isn't safe, but he's keeping obviously his pace with Cameron Armstrong. But Cameron Armstrong's got plenty of battery. He's got around about 70%. Cameron, on the other hand, has already got 46. Same with Fergus Wilson right behind him. We also keep an eye on the fight as well with Alfie as well in the background. Oh, as he runs into the back end of the Mercedes. Alfie there, very clumsy with his braking. And well, that's definitely getting investigated by the stewards, and he's dropping more places down now by the Williams pair. And Alfie, yet again, just colliding a bit silly there, misjudging his braking, and Jimmy has joined, currently in 15th, and Snooker trying to rejoin. And there's a VSC, so I'm wondering if he's collected somebody else rejoining. Hopefully that isn't the case. He believed there's a front wing missing on that. There is a front wing missing, and I believe the Alpine's got an illegal overtake. Maybe that's why he's slowing down, and the Merc then is considering it, but no, the Alpine's going. So yep, the Alpine had an illegal overtake there, and that is a shame, unfortunately, due to him pitting as well. He won't be able to get that removed, unfortunately. But we're under VSC conditions, and a couple of drivers are peeling into the pits then. So we've got Tony and Lordy there, all in the pits. Did they get damage in the end on the front wing? Let's have a look. Yes, he did. The Aston of Tony's got some bit of damage to the wing then. What about Lordy? Did he get some damage? No, I just think he's switching to the hard compounded tyre. Tony then, he's got a lot of work to do on the medium compound. The medium's definitely not making it to the end, so he will be making a scheduled stop. And it's a double stack for Mercedes, so this is not what the Merc team needed. And Snooker then, this bad day is getting a lot more worse, and well, he's now leaving the garage. a lot of ways. Shimmy yet again lags out. Hopefully he can get back in the session. Hopefully this isn't a connection issue due to come as the VSC has ended then. So we're back to green flag racing. Cameron's probably saved a bit more ERS now. And he's already flying, already catching up with the Red Bull. We see Big Boy Jewin actually, while we're on board with this, actually still going side by side. Williams and Alfa Romeo now going side by side. Oh, and the hearts of Lee Kelly's now collected Alfie into the same corner. And now Alfie's got a bit of a taste of his own medicine there, as the Alfa Romeo's now in combat with Lars. Lars then moves into P8 there, so he's now coming from the back of the grid in 20th then, already into 8th, so he's having a good run on his debut race, and well, basically showing some of the experienced guys how it's done. Brandon then dropping in 9th, Ollie dropping in 10th, but Lee Kelly then causing a bit of controversy. Got a bit of damage to his front wing, I believe. Yeah, the left end plate, I believe, has got a bit of damage. So he will be pinning. Yells in Sector 3. That is Cameron Armstrong. I haven't seen this. Cameron Armstrong's gone round. Now, has Cameron Young potentially been involved in this, or Fergus Wilson? Because Cameron's dropped back to second. Fergus has taken the lead. I did miss that while on board with the action there, as Lee's in the pit lane. And hopefully he doesn't call it a day. He's got plenty of time to find. Obviously, safe cars and all that could be the saving grace for him, but Fergus Wilson in the lead of this race. Alex Wall then trying to catch up with the Alpine ahead of Mumford. Mumford's trying to score some more points for the team, while his teammate, official teammate, isn't here for today, which is Sondra Sohaug. As the McLaren loses the rear, is it me? Or was that a bit of a shine on the track? Is it going to rain potentially in this qualifying session? I hope it isn't, because obviously like some spicy racing, which we are currently having. A bit of incidents and a bit of overtakes there, but right now it's starting to stabilise. Mumford, he moves to 11th. He's got 2 seconds to catch to Brandon then, who is on the same compound of tyre. Ollie isn't really doing that much with the mediums. Lars has already pulled away the 1.2, getting very close to that wall there is Lars, and he's already catching up with Cameron Armstrong. Cameron Armstrong is trying to do a recovery as best as he can. Now he's got to get past Big Boy Joey, then he's got to get past the Williams, and then he's going to catch up with the top 3. But right now, as it stands, Cameron Young is on a mission. Cameron wants to take a win this weekend. He could have had a win in Austria. Unfortunately, penalty cost him. Could have had a win in Qatar. The penalty cost him. Is he going to get another penalty at the end of this race? Potentially contact with Cameron, which obviously we don't know if he did or not, as we didn't notice it. But he was the only one who was near him. Cameron Armstrong sets a new fast lap at 30.883 there. So Cameron Armstrong is quick on the hard compound. Cameron though trying to keep up with Fergus, just chilling out at the moment, it looks like, just to pull him along. Pulling along away from Millen. Millen now has broken the DRS winner. Now Curtis is back into the DRS window. It's going to be close, potentially a battle for third. Have a 3-car fight, maybe 4 cars, maybe even 5 if Big Boy Chun can get in this. I don't count out Lars. Lars is quick as well. He's really catching up with these 4. And already pulling away from Ollie Fell to 1.4 seconds right now. 0.2 a lap at the moment. Still no overtaking right now. We could potentially see, that's just an AI of Alfie. Alfie passing an AI. But Alfie then trying to recover after he had a bit of incident involved with the Merc. Obviously didn't lose as that much as time as the Merc did. But got a bit of calm, as I said, from Lee Kelly. Both of them will definitely be investigated by the steward team, so the stewards will be busy this weekend, it looks like already. And Cameron maintaining the gap, 4/10 gap between him and Millen, 2.7 now. As Cameron hits the wall, and that's definitely got to be some minor damage to that wing. And he runs a bit wide there, and I think that's just opened the door for Fergus just to pull away now. So, Millen, if you're watching, it's time to go for the attackers. Here comes Cameron Armstrong, he's back on the attack, he's trying to make a move on Edward Hart there. Into 1 he goes, side by side they're going then. Trying to make it work, potentially through 2 and 3. It's going to be tight. Edward's got to give him a bit more space in that, because remember that curve, you can't ride it because it will just shove you off. And Edward gives him enough space there in the end, and they're still going side by side. Cameron Armstrong using as much DRS as he can. Tony this new fast start with a 30.5. Big Way Drew now in the DRS window. Lars not that far, and Lars picked up the pace even more now to the Alphas. 2.5 seconds this time around. So the Alphas must have been in a fighting positions for 9th. Mumford moves to 12th as Alfie's just passed him for 11th. But I think he might have just passed him a bit too early, actually, in my opinion. Yeah, he has. He's passed him way too early. If I was Mumford, I'd just go back for the move or potentially wait for the next straight. It's Brandon and Ollie still scrapping away for 9th. Or then re-overtakes then, so maybe not working as a team as you would think from Ollie and Bran there. Oh, as Bran loses the race then, so maybe Bran's making a couple of errors where Ollie thinks he may be a bit quicker to try and catch these guys ahead. But if he needs to catch these guys, he's going to have to start using these tyres. Because if he doesn't, eventually those tyres are going to die off and Bran's tyres are going to be a lot better. As Lars actually on board him, is passing his teammate, a Big Boy Durin, then moves into P7. Obviously, Big Boy Durin isn't a full driver in the throw, that is Charlie. But Lars then will potentially be scoring for his first point of the season. And right now, 1 lap each, starting lap number 9. Cameron back within the 3/10 window of Fergus Wilson. Curtis moves into 3rd. We did miss that. Millen trying to come back at him. Trying to get back into the mix then. Millen still showing some strong pace after 3 rounds. And Cameron Armstrong back into this fight. Lars 1.7, dropped a bit behind now. Obviously with that fight potentially with him, it probably lost a little bit of time. Go on board with Millen then. I think it's going to be an easy move for him to make. As we keep an eye on Cameron as well with a battle for the lead. Currently gapped 6/10. And it looks like Millen has got a lot more higher wings compared to the Williams pairing. And there's yellows into 1. That is a McLaren going slowly. And I believe that is Alex Waller. It is Alex Waller. He's trying to rejoin. And sort of spin the car around there. And he rejoins safely. And no need for VSC or safety car then. But Edward back into the mix then with the Haas and his teammate. Oh, very close. I remember Curtis doesn't want to get too close like he did in qualifying. And ripped his left wheel off. He doesn't want to have a repeat of that. Gap from Cameron and Curtis slowly closing. Gap now 2.2 seconds. Luke Baker and Lloyd now have just switched positions. Lloyd's now moving to 16th. Luke Baker in 17th then. As 20 also moves into 14th. And it doesn't look like the McLarens are going to score any points today. It's going to be a shame as they look like to consistently score points. But Cameron is all over the Red Bull. We're going to go on board him now for the lead of this race on lap number 9. Around the outside he's going. Fergus defends brilliantly there. And he keeps position, but Cameron gets a better exit. He's just pushing him along. And Fergus has just basically used all of his ERS. Cameron's been smart here, which I like to see. He's got 80% ERS, got plenty of battery to use, so you can just make an easy overtake on the straight and then just use all that deployment and pull away. And hopefully he can do that as he's trying to get as close as possible to him. You don't want to get staying behind him too long because, as I said, Curtis is gaining. Gap 1.8 seconds now. The gap was 2.2 last time round. He is catching, so we'll keep an eye on Cameron. Cameron's now making the move for the lead of this race, and he's made the move then. Into the lead he goes. Fergus Wilson drops to 2nd then. And as I said, Fergus has to watch out with his driving this weekend due to he had a race ban last weekend. But here comes Millen now. He's under threat by Edward round the outside. Millen defends. Doesn't really shove him off, but look at Cameron Armstrong. He's now being optimistic, potentially. He's trying to make a move into the chicane. Luckily, Pax out there. Could have been a nasty crash if they came together. Oh, not very nice tie there through that chicane. They lost a bit of the rear end of the Red Bull. But currently in 6th, trying just to get through the field as much as he can. And the Red Bull pairing don't look slow like they did in the first couple of rounds. They're actually looking quite quick for today. And Fergus, obviously, still in this battle. And obviously we keep an eye on the other fights as well. Keep an eye on Alfie Ollie potentially making a move on Bran. We will keep an eye on that. Gap's now currently 2/10. It is decreasing. It is decreasing. Alfie making a move. Nope, he stays behind. It looked like he was going to make a move, but he in the end doesn't go for it. Fergus is right on the back end of that Alpha Tauri. As Curtis and Millen, it's just a 4-car fight for 6th. Lars trying to catch up, but the gap's 3.1. As Curtis and Millen now switch positions, so I'm guessing Curtis made an error there with that. And Millen moves into 3rd. And we're lap number 10 then, so we've got plenty of laps remaining of the race. As Alfie in the pits then, and going on fresh mediums, it looks like. As Fergus Wilson now making a move for the lead of this race. He's not using his deployment, neither is Cameron. They're going side by side, the Red Bull crew. 1-2 right now, obviously out the sister team and the senior team. Fergus Wilson then into the lead. Oh, the Williams pairing almost crashed there. It looked like Edward was going to run deep into Millen. Also in the background there, unless that camera just showed a bit too much. Oh, Cameron Armstrong there gets a bit close to the back end of the Williams. And these two are these four closing up. Lars gets a 3-second time penalty now. As he's still under threat. Yellow's in sector 2. That is Lars DNF, and he's binned it in the wall. Now that's a weird area to crash. It is a safety car. Star's now spiced up the racing a little bit. Now I don't know if it was contact with his teammate or he just completely shafted the chicane where he just tried to take straight through it to get the quickest line possible. And oh, this ain't good for Timothy. He's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So he got a 5-second, apparently not letting somebody through, and now he gets to drive through. But a very unusual crash there, Flaws, unfortunately for him, but hopefully he can make it back for the next round and hopefully score for us some decent points. Oh well, Red Bull, mediums, and the Williams pairing, actually, I've just realised, are double stacking. So this is not what Lewis Curtis needs, and Timothy has got it here then, so hopefully he can rejoin, but I don't think he will due to that. Edward then, he's now served. He's behind Cameron. He's behind Cameron Armstrong. So Cameron Young was held up in the pit stand, so I'm guessing he had a front wing change in the end. And he drops to 4th. So he's now behind Curtis and he's behind Millen. And they're not easy to get past. Cameron's obviously beat them before. Obviously winning the championship last season, he beat them. But he knows he has to be smart making his move and when to make the move. Right now, though, Fergus Wilson retakes the lead for Red Bull, and the medium compound should easily make it to the end. Big Boy Junior and Ollie, though, in a bit of trouble. They're on hards. Now, they could make the option to potentially go for another set of mediums like everybody else, but the hard tyres ain't going to be quick. Yeah, they're definitely going to make it to the end, but they're not going to be quick, so they could be under threat by Mumford, Alfie, Bran. Tony's gone on soft, surprisingly. Obviously, Chimimi's not in the race at the moment, so Lodi is technically 13th then on the soft compound. Lee, Lubeck also on mediums. The Alpine, obviously, who left, hopefully he can rejoin of Timothy on hards. Snooker, he's an 18th on mediums. He's got nothing to lose. He's got to be aggressive through the field, obviously aggressive and clean to get through the field. And then Alex Waller, who spun earlier on, is currently in 19th. So then, we'll be waiting under the safety car for now. I'll see if any of the drivers have said anything in the Discord chat, the guys who are out, obviously, or have disconnected. No, not at the moment, as I do apologise, as I've just got to quickly stop a download, because for some reason a download just started. I do apologise for that. I don't want the connection to the stream to drop. But back to the live action then. So the guys on mediums, they definitely can make it to the end. The guys on the softs want an interesting strategy. Tony and Lodi obviously had a bit of contact at Qatar, and they've got some decent pace on when they need it, and especially on the soft compound compared to the mediums. They're definitely against the hards are going to be a lot quicker. But Tony decided to pit. Interesting. Lodi's staying out. We saw Cameron Armstrong, to be fair though, at Qatar do medium soft. We saw how long the soft tyres on the end of the stint last ages, and they actually had some solid pace. I was surprised he hasn't gone back to try that stretch. Obviously, it'll be a long way, obviously, to do that. But maybe Lloyd's potentially thinking there could be another safety car, maybe do soft, but it's a gamble, obviously. But it could work, could even get you some points. But I believe the safety car will be in this lap then, as we just wait for 22 catch up. He's back at the back of the field. It was unfortunate for Lars there to DNF from today. He was having such a good run. As we're just waiting for everybody to stay within the safety car, as they got to. They'll stay within 10 car lengths, because if they don't, they will get penalties. Fergus leads then with Lewis Curtis in second, the guy who bottled his qualifying session. Binned it, actually, ironically, near this corner in the chicane. Was starting in 8th. He's now in second. So Curtis, from a disappointing qualifying session in the end, could have an amazing race. Could even win this race. Don't count him out. He has the pace to win. He had the pace, obviously, in Austria to win. He had some solid pace on the medium compound, going an early stop, trying to do a two-stop. And he was very quick in the end. Unfortunately, he didn't get the win, obviously due to penalties, but Millen got that win at that round. Don't count out Millen, definitely don't count out Cameron. But we could have like a potential 7-car scrap for the win of this race, the way it's going to go, hopefully. Obviously, Kelly can recover as well. He's currently in 14th with the incident he had with Alfie. And Snookser needs to try and get through the field, as I said, as much as he can. But the safety car is in this lap then, so we're about to go back to green flag racing. as the Red Bull hasn't gone yet. He's just buying his time. He hasn't gone yet. He's waiting. He's now gone, so I would have gone right on the hairpin potentially, but he's gone then. And we're back to green flag racing, and Millen potentially might go for an overtake or walk back Cameron. Nope, they stay behind. No overtakes. Oh, actually, scratched out. There was an overtake, potentially from Edward. And, well, Edward, I think, might have been alongside. Cameron probably wasn't expecting that. I didn't see the other side of that point of view, but he definitely didn't get the overtake in the end as he's dropped behind Cameron Armstrong. That's not what he wanted to happen, but back to Cameron Armstrong and Cameron Young as we see Millen potentially making a move on Curtis, but Fergus Wilson has floored it. Got 1.2 seconds already within a couple of corners, so Curtis has been left asleep there. He's trying to claw back within DRS, and he needs to, because if he doesn't, he's going to potentially lose this race. Right now, though, here comes Cameron Young. He's now making a move. But Cameron Armstrong's potentially making a move now on him. He makes the move. The Williams goes off the track there, misses his braking zone. We now see Cameron Young in the fight with Cameron Armstrong. Cameron Armstrong has just got through. It was a very easy overtake. Then maybe Cameron's thinking, well, you might be a bit quicker right now. Try and pull me along. As Brandon picks up 3 seconds, very rare him picking up a penalty as Lee makes a move for 12. In the background, as we can see a lot of people bunched up and getting close, but Cameron Armstrong, he's using a lot of his battery to get through the field. His next objective is to get past Millen. We see the Aston of Tony now making a move on Snookster in the background as well. As Lewis Curtis, I think Curtis has got a brake problem or something, because he just keeps locking up. He keeps running wide. Is there an issue with his brake pedal potentially? Has Lewis Curtis got a mechanical failure with his wheel setup? I hope he hasn't, because right now this is great news for Millen to pull away from Curtis. And I think, actually, with this result, Millen will take the lead of this Drivers' Championship if it finished, obviously, like this. But right now, we've currently got a Red Bull 1-2. Fergus Wilson is absolutely flying. Gap 2 seconds to his teammate of Cameron Armstrong. And, well, Fergus Wilson maybe have seen Cameron Armstrong at Qatar getting a good result. I think this will be a decent result for Red Bull, and especially for the constructors' side. But Millen, now he's on the attack. He knows he can win this race. He needs to get through this field as well, through Cameron Armstrong, trying to catch up with Fergus Wilson, because he's got to watch out. He's got a hungry driver behind him of Cameron Young. He's also got a hungry driver behind him of Edward. Curtis, obviously Curtis looks like he's having an issue. We'll keep an eye on him. Let's see if he misjudges his braking again. It isn't that bad through there, but I don't know if he's having an issue with his brakes or something. Then we see Brandon now drops behind 14. He's still going side by side, hits the wall as Tony squeezed him. And Brand, that was very optimistic. And he's made Snookster hit him. Snookster's got a 3 second or 5 second penalty. I don't know what Brand was thinking there, going for that overtake. It was nowhere near potential of a move. A safe car has been called. So, will some of the drivers definitely peel in for softs? As I said, Lodi might have made the smartest decision. Go soft tyres, try and go through the field. Some of the guys pit, put another set of softs on. Maybe another safe car. Fergus doesn't pit, neither does Cameron. Millen, Cameron Young is in. Edward is in. What about Curtis? Curtis stays out this time. He doesn't want the double stack. Big Boy June stays out. Alfie stays out. Lodi is in the pits. A couple of drivers in the pit lane in the end. So they are actually losing a couple of positions. But this is starting to spice up a little bit there. Brand then, very optimistic with that move. Very silly, especially in that chicane. I wouldn't have really gone for that overtake. I would have waited on the straight, use a bit of your battery. Yeah, you might lose a bit too much battery, but you get the move done. It was a bit silly there. And hopefully Tony hasn't got any damage to his car. Fergus leads then with Cameron Armstrong in second. My favourites to win it right now, I would say the Red Bull pairing, to be honest. I think they could get a 1-2, maybe a 1-3. As I said, don't count out Millen and Curtis, or even Alfie. Alfie could even surprise me here. He surprised me at Qatar with his late quality pace and his late race pace, getting second in the end. Alfie could surprise us all and even win this race and become a title contender in the end. But on lap 15, we're over halfway through the race now. I don't know if Lewis was trying to heat up his tyres, he made a mistake or what. So the driver, he's with the 3-second penalty he's got, he can, I believe, can be removed. But interesting, then Tony's gone back on the soft compound. Lordy went on the mediums in the end, so I think I would have gone on the mediums to be at the start, and well, you would have been potentially in 10th because Snookster was behind you, and Snookster's now back in the 10th. He's got a 5-second pen, obviously due to the contact with Bran, which I think is a bit harsh. He couldn't do anything, he couldn't avoid the incident. So Bran, as I said, a bit clumsy with his overtaking as Luke peels into the pit lane, so we'll go on board with him and see what tyre he decides to go on. No wing change, fresh set of mediums, and he's underway then. So Luke will be back at the grid for a fresh set of mediums. He has to remember though, he was caught out in China going too slow under the safety car. He can't do it again, because if he does, that is it. Somebody else will be racing for him, as it's not fair on everybody else where a driver deliberately slows down and basically adds an extra lap of and potentially could change the results of the race. But he is trying to catch up the safety car, I believe. And good day, Brian. I don't think it is a good day. I think you made a very silly attempt of an overtake. Obviously I didn't see the first part. You probably were alongside, but in the end, in that chicane part, it was very silly. Yeah, he closed you out, but you weren't really alongside, I would say there, Bran. But obviously do send you footage in for the shows. I'd love to see it again, and I'll have some popcorn with me. But unfortunately there for your DNF today. And we weren't actually trying to go up his inside, it just happened. Why do I not believe that, Bran? Why do I not believe that? It's usually go for overtakes whenever you can. But okay, well, we'll take your word for it for now. But if you do send it to the stewards, we'll see it later on. But I believe we will be going back green flag racing very shortly, as Luke has cut up the safety car this time, so he hasn't deliberately slowed down. So, safety car will be in this lap again. Fergus Wilson will be in control of the restart. Cameron, Edward has got a lot of work to do to get through the field. They're currently 13th and 14th. Had they potentially thrown away a result? Did they get some damage, or did they just think maybe a lot more will pit? I don't know. Have to wait and see. On lap 16, we'll be starting lap number 17 when we go back to green flag racing. Who's going to win? Will it be Fergus Wilson? Will it be Cameron Armstrong? Will it be Millen? Will it be Curtis? Or will it even be Big Boy June or Alfie Ollie? You know, we could even have Ollie Favell somehow win this race, but Ferguson has gone, and we're back to a green flag then. On a lap number 17 we go racing, and Cameron Armstrong in second, Millen third, gets a better restart than Curtis. Curtis yet again was a bit sleepy on the start, and he's got to watch out for Big Boy June. He's not that far off, and yet again remember, this guy is on hard tyres. These hard compound compared to the mediums are not going to be that good. Not yet anyway. Maybe the late stages in the race could be a bit better, but mediums is the better tyre to be on. As we can see, Alfie there in the background in 6th, trying to potentially make an overtake. As I said, he could be still investigated with the incident he had earlier on. He's making a move potentially on the inside. Tried it, couldn't make it work. He's now got to watch out for Molly in the background there as well, as they've dropped a bit, as a couple of drivers have started to separate. Cameron Young moves into 11th, passing Alex Wazza. Lee moves into 8th, so he could score some decent points for Haas. Mumford's looking for some solid points today, as we see him in the background there switching positions. No switch around from anybody else, but Cameron Young is making a move on Edward. Edward ran a bit deep there, trying to pass Alex Wazza, and they're already into 11th and 12th now. Snookster is their next objective, with the Alpine and Mumford, and then Lee Kelly, who are slowly starting to drop off from Ollie Favell, trying to keep up with him. As Lee Kelly, though, back in the mix, after having a bit of a disappointing start to the race. Could now see to score some decent points for today, and help Haas in the Constructors' lead, using all of his batteries he can. He's potentially going to make them overtake round the outside, interestingly enough. Won't really go for the overtake on the outside, but he's going for it. He's going to go for the switchback, tries it, can't get it rotated enough to and get even the traction enough down, so he's going to make a move potentially into turn 1, using plenty of his battery. He's going for the inside, and here comes Lee Kelly and Ollie Favell. It should be an easy overtake, mediums against hards, and Lee Kelly is through the inside, and he's got the move done. He moves now into 7th place, or has he? Ollie, yep, he's got the move done. He moves into 7th, Ollie drops to 8th, and now Ollie's got to watch his mirrors. He's got two fast guys right behind these Alpine and Mercedes of Cameron Young and Edward Hart, former IRL champion. Obviously Cameron won it last season. He obviously will be trying to get through this field as quick as possible, and he's already making an overtake on Snookster, already into 10th, and he's just showing his experience he's got compared to some of the new guys. And already now activating his DRS to potentially make a move on the Alpine ahead. The Alpine potentially maybe making a move on the Alfa Romeo. And here he is, he's just making it. Just the straight line speed already maxing out his straight line speed of 208 miles an hour in the Alpine. Round the outside he goes then, and still going side by side. Ooh, got to make it work. We don't want another brand situation. Ollie closed his door before Cameron can make the overtake, and Cameron probably wasn't really happy. Ooh, bit of front wing twitch on the rear end of the Alpha there. Maybe Cameron's not a bit happy with the pace Ollie's going. He's maybe a lot quicker through that section, but Cameron's got to watch out. He's now got a quick guy of Edward Hart right on his tail. Cameron Armstrong has retaken the lead then of this race. So Red Bull's doing team orders, potentially letting him through. Edward going on the inside, going on the outside, but look at Cameron Young now making a move on the inside into the hairpin corner. I didn't even see him going for the overtake. He makes it work, gets his braking zone perfect. Edward's trying to get into the mix as well. Round the outside, Ollie Favell is surrounded by shocks right now. Edward Cameron moves into 9th and 10th, and Ollie loses 2 positions and drops to 11th. He lost 3 positions in 1 lap as Tony peels into the pits then, so the softs were just a no-go, it looks like, and well, it looks like he ain't going to score points for today. And as the Mercedes parent, you can see Snooks lose the rear end. Now here comes Lordy making the move on the inside, and Snooks just lets him through as he realises his team, I mean not full team obviously due to Oceans, his full team. Fergus drops to 3rd, Millam moves in the 2nd. Fergus, as I said, has to be careful with his overtakes, but Millam in the 2nd now. Cameron pulled away already. Side by side they go in. Fergus Wilson re-overtakes him then. So Millam may be able to make an overtake, but it just doesn't look like he has the straight line speed. And Curse looks like he managed to fix the braking issue. Oh, bit of braking off, misbraking from Alfie, trying to make a move on the red Ferrari potentially, and a bit deep then. So maybe it's just an issue with that corners. Curtis picks up a penalty there, and well, that's basically stopped him winning this race. He's definitely going to lose a lot of positions if people catch up with him, and there's a lot of drivers behind that Ferrari who definitely would like to move up a position due to a penalty. But Millam then in the 3rd, trying to keep up the Red Bulls, and well, it's really kicking off here right now. We have a lot of battles on track. We have 2 little groups of obviously Red Bull leading one and the Ferrari leading the other. Right now, we're on lap 20 out of 29. Not that many laps remaining of this race. The Red Bulls are still trying to help each other out, try and get this 1-2 secure. And I'll tell you one thing, a 1-2 for Red Bull today could be very well in the constructors. I think they'll move a couple of positions actually in the end. I think they might even potentially go to 2nd, if I'm correct. Curtis, obviously, he's now in limbo. I'd say if he gets caught by the people who passed Big Boy Jr., he'll drop to 7th. But now, this question I'd like to actually ask is Cameron's now making a move on Lee Kelly, and that's the most easiest overtake of his life, but Lee isn't quitting. Lee isn't quitting at all. I'm trying to get a helicopter view of these, but unfortunately I can't. And now Edward's trying to get into the mix as well. And Edward has just got the straight line speed. Now he wants to make a move on Cameron Young there. Sorry, wrong Cameron there. Cameron now on the inside. He now late breaks into his team almost, and Cameron Young slides the rear end there. Bit of drifting now in F1. As now he's got Lee to watch out for. Now he drops another position back. Well, that's probably just overheat his tyres a little bit. Now Edward's making a mistake. Oh, did Cameron? Oh, Cameron's just hit Lee in the end. I don't know if he hit him on the first phase. Could that be a potential penalty? Did he? If he did hit him, obviously. But Cameron's going to be a bit annoyed with himself how that happened. A lot of straight line speed, couldn't make the move back over, and Edward now making moves left, right and centre. He's now moving into 6th. Alfie's just got nothing to answer for him, and these 2 were former teammates as well, so you would think Alfie would defend a bit more to help out his teammate. But right now Cameron looks like he's struggling with the rear end a little bit. Maybe he's overheated the tyres with that bit of the drifting a bit there into the 2nd sector. Snookster drops to 12th then, as moves up to 12th. Lee Kelly into the pits, and Lee has called it there, so he's called it quits. I think he's a bit annoyed with Cameron there. I think maybe something did happen between them, but it looks like the top 4 I think is basically settled. I don't think Edward, Alfie or Cameron are going to win this race, because right now Cameron Armstrong could get a back-to-back win. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, to be honest. I'm not being harsh to him. He didn't look like he had the pace the first couple of rounds, and then in Qatar he took the victory with a masterclass strategy going medium soft. Millam now making a move for the lead of the race, so Millam now making the move. Cameron's still on the inside, and Millam trying to hold it. Side by side they go on. Yeah, Lee is frustrated with Cameron there, as he said in the Discord. Nice one, Cameron. So there's definitely Something going to be investigated as Cameron Armstrong and Millen still going side by side. Millen has to avoid him, cuts the corner, and they're still side by side. Now Fergus Wilson wants a bit of the mix, and now he's making a move. So Millen drops to third after all that, and the teammates are going into war now. Hopefully it doesn't end in war. Now here comes Curtis. We've now got 3 wide. Fergus trying to defend on the inside, but Curtis is through. Curtis is flying, and he's into the lead, but he's got a 3-second time penalty, we have to remember, and he has to watch Fergus Wilson on the outside into the hairpin, shoves him off, and here comes Millen. Fergus Wilson drops to 4th now. I don't know if there was a bit of side pod damage. Millen trying to shove the Red Bull off now. You've got to be careful with the overtakes, and Fergus now makes the move on Millen. Fergus now making a move on Cameron Armstrong as well, with moves everywhere now on track. We see Edward Hart now scrapping away with Cameron Young for 5th. Now Big Boy Durin hits the back end of the AlphaTauri, and now Alfie obviously must have thought team orders this time around, and well, lets his teammate go early on. And Lordy in the 10th could get some points unless his teammate wants the point in the end. A bit of excitement there for a little bit of that lap, but back on lap 22 then. Back on the next straight, Lewis Kirst leads, but remember he has a penalty. That 3-second didn't go in because he did cut that corner, unless it was just a straight 3, and he obviously got proof due to he hadn't cut any other corners, but I think that's just a straight 3-second pen after his other warnings. And Cameron Armstrong dropping a bit back. Cameron Young trying to make a move on his teammate. Big Boy doing an Alfie still going at war for 7th, as these two haven't quit since the safety car restart. As Snooks then moves into P10 then. And they're still going side by side there. And, well, Lordy holds 10th place and around the inside. Ooh, very close to that wall. No, it's a war in the Mercedes camp, especially with Oliver in the background. We're back on board with Edward then, trying to catch up with the guys ahead. 1 lap 22, going to start lap 23. 2 seconds. They might have enough time to potentially change the outcome of this race. Edward making the move then, so they're just letting each other through, but Edward now under threat again. Cameron trying to make a move. He's going for it. Almost hits the rear end of the Williams there. He's already hit one driver, I think, today with the Haas, but now moves into 5th then. Cameron moves to 5th, overtakes Edward yet again. And Lodi and Snooks going back at it again, side by side into 1. So we're having a couple of overtakes there at the moment. We've only had 3 DNFs, so I've got to say, with a 20-car grid, only 3 DNFs actually isn't that bad. Obviously with 2 disconnects as well, isn't that bad usually. But as it stands, Curtis, even though he's leading, he ain't going to win this race. He needs to increase that gap to 3 seconds if he wants to win. So on board with Cameron and Edward yet again. Oh, hang on, we've got to watch out for Fergs actually. He looked like he was going to make a move there. He got really close. Cameron has now dropped a position to Edward, and these two are catching. Gap 1.4 seconds. Millen is 1.1. So, as Millen just dropped off the pace potentially on the tyres he's on, as he just pushed them too much, and potentially this is where the window of Cameron and Edward's tyres are starting to get into the mix. On lap 23, going to start lap 24 soon. The Mercs still at war in the background, maybe trying to both get points for the Mercedes. Obviously Snooks won't get a point for Mercs since Ushin couldn't make it today. He's only a reserve, but he'll be getting a point for himself, which will be good enough. Ferguson, maybe Curtis, is trying to help his teammate overtake these lot and just slow them down gradually. But the gap between him and Millen, 1.8 now. So they've dropped a bit off and they're using all their battery. We get a nice helicopter shot then. Curtis drops down to 2nd then. Fergus back into the lead of this race. Curtis trying to come back at the Red Bull potentially. Got to watch out for Cameron behind. And Cameron is looking hungry. He's going to make it. He's going for it. He's sending it. He's going for it in the inside there of Curtis. Curtis probably didn't like that overtake. But if he's alongside like that and he's sending it, you've just got to watch it. But Curtis gets a second bite of the cherry. He's now going on the outside and he's making a move back again. Cameron Armstrong's probably not happy with this. He just wants to get the overtake done, try and fight his teammate, but Cameron Armstrong isn't giving up. He's now back on the inside. This time he holds his line. We're going to go side by side. Oh, Curtis, got to be careful with that potential driving there. Very silly there from Curtis. I don't know what he was playing at. To be fair, he had respect for driving earlier on, and now he's just driving like a clown there. A bit silly there from Curtis, and he's got to watch out shoving people wide like that, because if you shove him into the wall, that's a big penalty. You could give him damage, you could rip the wheel off. We saw Brandon try that on Tony, and he lost his wheel. A bit silly there from Curtis, but right now this is back, open door back for Millen. Cameron is 1.5 seconds from Lee's lot. One lap, going to start at 25. There ain't that many laps remaining, so if Cameron wants to catch up, he's going to have to do it in the next couple of laps. If he wants to win this race, he's going to have to really fight for it. Because right now, he's 1.3. He's barely catched up. Earlier on, it was 1.7, then it was 1.5, then it went back to 1.8. Oh, was Millen locked up there a little bit there, a bit late on the break, and Cameron Armstrong coming back at Lewis Curtis, and he's going for it already, making a move on the inside. He's going to be on the outside into the left hand. I wouldn't really go for it here. And if I was Cameron Armstrong, I'd just save you back at ERS like Curtis is, because you're going to be worse off in the end. Oh, as he runs wide, he's got to be careful. That's definitely a warning. We could see Fergus Wilson still win this race right now. His gap's 1.1. Curtis is in trouble now. He's got no DRS. And just look at the slipstream difference. Easy move there. Moves into second, and Cameron then is back into P2. Now he's going to have to try and catch up with his teammate as quick as possible, and Edward almost runs off the track there. I'm wondering if it's because of the straight line speed they're running. As the gap's now 1.2, so they're starting to close back up with these. They're actually within DRS. So Curtis has done a good job for his team, if that was his objective, to held up these guys ahead to make him catch up with Edward, obviously. But Cameron, it's also benefited because he made a pit stop on the safety car. Looked like he was completely out of getting even a decent lot of points, to now potentially getting a podium. So you could see this happen. Fergus try and potentially slow down to give Cameron Armstrong a bit of DRS potentially. Yep, he slowed down again. We're trying to keep an eye on other fights as well around the track today. As Big Boy Jern then, he's dropped to 9th, so Mumford's now moving up to 8th. Ollie's into 11th. Snookster, even though he's got a penalty, could get points. Let's have a look at penalties right now. He's only got that 5 second, and because he hasn't served it, he might be able to get that removed. Because, as I said, it wasn't his fault. He couldn't avoid that crash, and it was just, in my opinion, a BS pen. A BS pen there, and, well, on lap 26 now. Edward will be gaining, so he's now within this DRS, and they're finally caught up with this pairing. But is it too late? Have they got enough time to get through a couple of positions, to get potential podiums for both of them? Or is one of them just going to have to just click the stamp and send it in the end? Or is it too late? It could even be too late for some of the drivers, as Cameron's really struggling with the back end there. I said Cameron Young still could be under threat due to a steward inquiry from Lee, might report it. As he's just dropping away, he could even almost be out of DRS the way this is going. The gap now 9 to 8 tenths. He's just got nothing on the straights to match Edward right now, or the Williams pair, to be honest. And the Red Bull crew are now scrapping away again. And Cameron Armstrong is going for it. And yep, Cameron Armstrong now leads. As we've had a couple of switch arounds now, Fergus Wilson obviously doesn't want to injure his teammate in any way, like whack his back end tyre or anything like that. Just finish, get some solid points, and well, get Red Bull high up in the constructors, really, because right now we've got Curtis not that far behind. Yeah, he's going to get a penalty, so Millen still could get a podium out of all this. Edward could still get a podium out of all this, as Fergus now makes another overtake. And they just keep switching positions. So I'm wondering if this could be a defensive tactic, because now we can see Millen now under threat by Edward in the background. And they're both out of ERS. Curtis runs deep again. Curtis, I think with the setup these two are running, I think potentially affects them in the braking. So, oh, Edward tried to go for a gap. Not really there, but Millen picks up a 3-second penalty. So that's his podium out of the window. Edward and Cam are in the window to get a podium. This is it. This is game on. Now will Cameron try and catch up. Edward makes the move almost on the penultimate lap of this race, and Edward's through. Millen's probably not going to give up without a fight, even though he's got a penalty. He could still finish ahead of Curtis. And yep, Millen then in a 5th, but he's going to come back at him. I don't think he's got the straight line speed to even match that Haas there. This is it. This is going to be crucial then for the Red Bull pairing. They need to pull away, because if Edward just gets let through, and if he's close enough, obviously, to team challenge the Red Bulls, Edward could even win this race, right? There's still enough time. However, if it's end sector 2, I think it's basically game over for Edward. I think he'll just set up for the podium unless the Red Bull pairing crash, but I don't think they will. They're almost breaking the DRS window out of Curtis. They have broken the DRS window. Now it's back in. It's really close right now. Fergus Wilson and Cameron Armstrong are 1 and 2 for Red Bull. Then it's 3-4 for Williams. Then it's Millam in 5th, Cameron Young in 6th, and his team at Alfie in 7th. Fergus now retakes the lead of the race, as Cameron now making a move potentially on Millam. Ooh, these two got to give each other space, they do. But Millam's trying to come back, trying to get the car rotated enough to stay alongside, but he couldn't hack it in the end. And I think this is game over for Edward. I think the Red Bull pairing have got it. There's still a lap left after this, but I think the Red Bull pairing have got a 1-2. I don't know if Cameron Armstrong, I don't know if Fergus is going to let Cameron Armstrong win, potentially get a back-to-back win, but right now Edward's been released. Edward is going, right? He has 1 whole lap to catch the Red Bulls. He's got enough time, I think, now, because he's just in range. Hasn't got enough battery. But here it is. This is the crucial lap for the Red Bulls and the Williams, and even Cameron Young potentially getting the podium. If obviously one of the Red Bulls get a pen, and oh my god, Fergus Wilson goes for the dive. Don't know why you're going for the dive now. Just get the 1-2. Just save the 1-2. Go for an overtake later on, and just make sure you get the 1-2 right now. Fergus in the lead, Cameron Armstrong in 2nd, Edward in 3rd, 5/10 of a second on this final lap of this race. Who is going to win it? Will it be Fergus? Will it be Cameron? Or will it even be Edward? Half a lap potentially right now left of this race. This is going to be close. Oliver Fell could get a point. Big Boy Dewin could get a point. So it's close between them two. Snook says probably not going to get a point now due to a penalty, obviously, with a 5 second, but obviously could be removed, as I've said. But the Red Bulls are safe for now. They've got 1 more straight to defend. If Edward gets such a good run through this final part of this section, and he could get them both to the line, it'll be a masterclass win for him. But right now, it looks like it's going to be Fergus or Cameron Armstrong. The Williams paint are really picking up the pace now. Let's see what happens then on this last straight round here then. Down the long straight we go then. Has Edward got enough straight line speed? I don't think he has. He's got nothing left in the tank. I think the Red Bull pairing is safe. He is gaining. Though he is gaining. He's getting really quick. Actually, he might make a late dive. No, he's not going to make it. Cameron Armstrong makes the move for the lead of this race, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Cameron Armstrong, but look at Edward in the background. Cameron Armstrong is going to take a back-to-back win in IRL. What a race win there for him. Ferguson 2nd, Edward finishes in 3rd. A decent result there in the end for Cameron, finishing 4th. Curtis, a good recovery from his qualifying in 5th, unfortunately due to that penalty. Millam, probably disappointed with that 6th, but still some solid points on the board. Alfie, not a bad 7th, could have done better, not bad in the end. Big Boy joining in 8th. Ollie then does get a point in 9th for Alfa Romeo, so getting them some points in the end instead of Brand usually getting the points. Mumford does get a point for Alpine, so he retakes more points for the team. Snooks then just misses out. As I said though, the penalty which he had, as I said, is kind of BS because it wasn't his fault that Brand crashed. Could be removed. But, well, what a race and what an end there to the race. And yet again, Cameron Armstrong, back-to-back winner. I'm not saying anything. He could even be a freaking driver contender for this championship the way it's going. It's 2 wins. He's the only driver to get back-to-back wins and the only guy to have 2 wins this season. And, well, what a race then for the Red Bull pairing as well, getting a 1-2. And, well, Cameron Armstrong has got to be over the moon for that victory. It looked like he was going to lose that guitar, but he didn't get reported. And then today, he takes the victory in style. And a 1-2 for Red Bull. What a race for the Red Bull team as well. Definitely for the constructors, a lot of points. I think they do move up to potentially 3rd, maybe 4th, I think, up in the constructors standings, gaining on the leaders. But what a result. And what a surprising race then. And Edward as well. Good recovery for 3rd. After it looked like he wasn't even going to get a podium. But as Curtis says, having the wings combined up 4 is not a good idea, by the way. So maybe that's why he was going off the track. Fergus does get the fastest lap, so what a race for him as well after he had his race ban and a bit of a talking to due to the incident. But Cameron Armstrong does get the wing. This is obviously the unofficial results with Fergus 2nd, Edward 3rd, Cameron 4th then. I think still is the Drivers' Championship leader, with Curtis 5th, Millam 6th, Alfie 7th, Big Boy Junior 8th, Ollie 9th, Mumford 10th. Snoopster, as I said, could move back up to position where he finished due to his penalty maybe getting removed. Lordy 12th, Luke 13th, Tony 14th, Alex 15th, then Shamimi and the Alpine, obviously technically DNF due to not being here, and then Lee and Brandon and Lars were our official DNS for today's race. There's definitely going to be some steward inquiries then for today, but what a race. What a race indeed, especially for the Red Bull pairing, especially for the Williams pairing as well, you know, coming back since the missed Qatar, getting a good result, getting some decent points for the team. Can't be too disappointed for that, but what a race again, as I said. And the next round will be, as I'll just get that up right now, is Spain. Spain is the next round, and it's with the new layout, obviously, with the, or sixth layout with the removal of the chicane in the final corner, finally. So we're finally going to get the updated Spain, and the drivers are looking forward to that. And I believe that is going to be next week. Obviously, do tune in for the podcast, hopefully, which I believe is also next week as well, before the race. So do tune in for that, for episode number 2. But I've been your commentator, Iron Man, or as Jared Fosbury. What a race today, and hopefully we can have another 20 car graded and then another exciting race for Spain. But until then, goodbye for now.